2 seconds. Everyone, Dave Putz here from JKP Holdings. Alongside me, Mr. Nathan Turner.
Hello there.
Live from a different location. I love it.
I'm in St. Pete. Look at this. Sunny skies, palm trees, all that good stuff.
At DME right now, I'm sure you've said hello to Mr. Nathan. Unfortunately, I was unable to make it. We're making arrangements. We'll be speaking actually on stage, possibly in Vegas this year. So it'll be fun.
Awesome.
How has DME been? What's the atmosphere like?
It is so nice to be all together again and just being able to just get together and chat. And oh man, that's invaluable. And just that time to just do the face-to-face and connecting with friends and then meeting a lot of new people. Anybody from sellers to people that are brand new, just looking for advice, which is fine too. But it's great just to get together and just chat and have that face-to-face. It's nice.
Yeah. Are you able to, when you're networking with these people, what is the energy like? What are the people asking about? What are they talking about? What's the talk right now that's on around the atmosphere right now?
A lot of people are wondering kind of where we're going, and that's, what's going to happen with the market. And I mean, we've been talking about that for a year on this show.
Yeah.
With every guest that we've had. And so that's still a big topic of conversation.
Sure.
And, everybody's got their opinion, but one of the most interesting comments, I was chatting with Franco yesterday, and he's an attorney and covers several states in the Midwest. And he was saying that starting January, they were swamped, absolutely swamped. They had to hire on 4 new employees just to keep up with the sudden deluge of foreclosure starts. So, I asked him, are bankruptcies ticking up? And he said, well, not yet, but I expect they will in about 3 or 4 months, because it just takes that long, as it goes through the process, and then bankruptcies start creeping up as well. And so if, in his opinion, he, where he's figuring fall, summer, we're going to see a bunch more delinquencies. So we'll see what happens.
I was just talking to someone today. We did a consulting session with someone, and they were asking questions about pricing and modeling. And I found a lot of people are struggling with, 2 big things, right? Calculating returns, which we should be doing a video about that sooner or later, is, how do you calculate your returns? We did it with Joe and everything else, but they're still bidding based on UPB, and that number changes. And the other side of it is valuation of properties, right? It is so hard because values are going up dramatically quickly across the country. And knowing where things are going to be is extremely difficult. But the flip side is, if you have a property that is going up, and I'm segueing here, right? Where condition of property means everything to you as an investor. Yeah. If it's in good condition, you can assume the fact that as long as the market doesn't crash, that property is going to continue to go up in value. The question is condition.
Right. So
when we were BPOs, what do we see?
We see the front of the house, maybe the side, maybe. How many times have you had a roof issue or something that happened in the backyard?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Pool issue, roof issue, anything, right? And we've talked to people who, get these evaluations done, and the roof is this percentage, that percentage. It's like, how do you know, right?
Right.
But it, not only is the note the valuable part, the asset is the second most valuable part of the whole deal. And getting Google images like we do, satellite images, is unknown. We can't see everything. We can't detail. And I think I've talked to other people who are buying these people to go out and look at a property inspection. They don't know what they do. They don't know what their evaluation is. And a lot of times, I don't want another report.
Yeah. And it's very subjective. Somebody will, and I get this all the time, a realtor will go look at a house that I've taken back, and they say, oh, it's in really rough shape. And I just go, because rough shape is incredibly subjective. What does rough shape mean? And does that mean torn carpet, or does that mean it's down to the studs? So that's very different things. And I need to know objectively, if I can look at it, then I can make the decision what's rough and what's not, and what kind of damage there might be in, or it's not a big deal.
So what we've done in the past is kind of shot in the dark on condition of houses. Most of them you can't get inside of them, and you can't tell roof conditions. And what we've learned over years is that your roof is probably your number one factor on house condition.
Yeah.
If that roof has problems, that house has problems.
Yeah.
And
we're not just talking about, right. We're not just talking about worn shingles. We're talking about
yeah,
holes in the ceiling.
Yeah.
And that can destroy a house.
Yeah. And we've been through it. I've had legal claims, insurance claims. It's just a nightmare. Yeah. So a while back, I ran into this great person who was really helpful with things. And then she introduced me to her husband, Bobby. Bobby was a guy that blew the top off the doors of his knowledge and experience, but also his personality. So when Bobby started explaining some of the stuff, I was amazed at some of the stuff I didn't realize, I didn't know, or didn't realize was a problem, right? So when talking to Bobby, I think it was the amazingness of not only I was learning what I didn't realize, but understanding his knowledge, his experience, and why what he's bringing to market is needed in an amazing way. So, Bobby, welcome to our Friday live. Riding solo right now, I know, but Bobby, can you share a little bit about your background? How did you get into this space? What's your knowledge, and what's this product ultimately solving?
Sure. Hey, thank you so much for having me, David and Nathan. And you really set that softball up nicely for me. It was a really good intro. I'm like, yes, that's perfect. Great sales pitch for me. So I am prior military. I'm prior Air Force, did 13 years total service. And in 2009, I got my pilot's license, and I found out you could get paid to fly, essentially, to own an aerial photography company. So I did that for 3 years until 2012 or so, actively from an aircraft. And that's when drones were like right on the horizon. And I'm sitting here looking at, like, at the time, investing another $50,000, $60,000 into buying an airplane and doubling down, or, what's going to happen when drones come in a year from then and put us out of business. Right. So obsolescence hurts. I ended up leaving that job. I still did it part-time, and then started using drones for it. But I got into flying drones in Afghanistan for a couple of years to get into the unmanned industry. Did that for a couple of years in Afghanistan, came back and worked as a satellite intel analyst for the biggest commercial satellite company, was Digital Globe at the time, where I used satellite and had access to commercial satellites. It was awesome. By the way, you guys might see a lot of this imagery in Ukraine right now coming out. It's like commercial intelligence products, if you will, but super cool, right? What I learned in that industry, though, from dealing in that job specifically with customers, the commercial customers that were coming in, they wanted to put eyes on locations and properties in real time that satellites going to get to. And a lot of people didn't realize at the time that, like, satellites don't have an immediate recollect time every day. Like, they're not collecting tomorrow and the next day. And the stuff that you're seeing online on Google Maps and Google Earth could be months, years old.
Wow.
So one of the things that I was like, was, even as an analyst, if I'm doing an open source report or whatever, I was like, I need something that's more real time than my own satellites that I have access to as that analyst. And wouldn't it be cool if we could get those people that have drones in the US to go take pictures for us? And this was back in 2015. So that kind of started the whole where I was going, right? The short of that is I pitched it to Digital Globe, to start a drone network. And they were like, hey, we're a satellite company. So it was a great idea. There was a very few competitors in the space at the time. And I dropped out of grad school and I quit the company and I started PayPixel effectively. That's my background.
Very cool. So I know, like, even when I'm looking at a Google Earth satellite view, sometimes I can see the house itself. Sometimes I can see parts of the roof, if I can see through trees or not. And sometimes I can see parts of the backyard or not. And again, just depending on tree cover, or maybe it's an older picture, so it's very pixely and it's hard to get very detailed information on what I'm looking at. So you're talking about taking a drone and flying over houses and being able to take much better quality imagery.
Yes. Yeah, that was the core idea, is you getting a camera essentially in that spot in near real time that you can get angles below tree lines, from different angles than just miles above overhead, maybe 1 or 2 degrees off of that house. Right now, you're able to take a drone and get exactly where you need to. So the premise of the company PayPixel, what did I end up making out of it? It's a marketplace that allows anybody to easily find pilots across the country, order and pay for images, videos, and 3D models on demand. That's what we're building right now. We launched our beta last month, and essentially right now we're building the software, the core component of that marketplace that allows pilots to upload their images, 3D models, videos, and share those with their customers in a map, essentially.
Wow.
So you can consider us like the interface would look like Zillow meets Dropbox meets PayPal, right? And it's a way for pilots to basically stage all of their imagery projects over time, recall them on a map, pull them up, share projects out. It's like a Dropbox with a map component to it. Now, the reason I wanted to open this up to everyone, so there's something else too, is there's marketplaces out there that currently exist, right, that we're competing with. And the major difference between us and them is there are drone service providers out there where you can go sign a drone service provider agreement with these people or companies, and you can ask for imagery in certain areas. It's difficult to get. Their marketplace isn't perfect. It takes days sometimes to get a return on your imagery.